Many people say this isn't a real sport, but it doesn't have to be. Even the best in the world have proven to fall against the ones that can master one punch 1,000 times. These are the cream of the crop in a not-so-familiar world that sees thousands of new faces every single hour. These scientists of speed who only push themselves further in such an unfathomable environment because they felt like it. This is the mad dance of a hyper-focused mind trained to feel force through only their senses of sight and their sense of flow. A flow strong enough to know when a mistake has been made before it's even happened. Not to mention the superhuman instincts needed to tell their fingers when to pull the trigger. This is the culmination of eons of training, the final test of reactions and wits, and the endless rampage to be the one who stands tallest on a pedestal with no physical form. These are the Kings of Kings. This is Formula Apex. Apologies for that confusion, but we're about to start once again. The lights are going out once more, and once again we are racing in Hockenheim. It's lights out and away we go, and this time RVR Catalan got a really good launch, a very poor launch as well from Klezerker in the F2 car, which is a bit strange considering how strong its launch power is. But we're also seeing a more solid result from the 2024 car. Maybe they'll be able to keep themselves with generally better pace, but I'm not too sure. RVR Catalan didn't get a better launch than they had initially. In fact, they're currently falling back into 4th, as this is starting to be a bit of a disaster for them, and it's looking like it's going quite good for JZ. Of course, the grip of the 2010 cars, easily the best out of all of them, so they're definitely going to have a lot more fun on some of the curves for there. And of course, the 2010 car does get 1 bonus point as they still get beaten out by a lot of other cars on some main tracks, but this is a track on the 2010 car is particularly dominant. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah. It doesn't have that long of a straight, and there's a lot of high downforce corners. The 2010 car really sucks in the straights, but it probably has the best turn-in of any other car. So in a track like this, or Zandvoort, it really is dominant.
Oh, it does have the best turning. I can absolutely confirm that. Okay, and there's also a battle at the back between Alan Walker and Klezerker. This is pretty important between them, because if Klezerker can finish 5th, that'll mean the difference between 16 points and 20 points, considering the doubling of the points for that. It's also still an incredibly dominant start from JZ, who's now broken out into a 2-second lead. He's probably going to be in pretty good form, but remember, if RVR can keep himself into 2nd place, considering the bonus points scored by the 2007 car, he's only going to be about 3 points off in the overall standings. Cool Gamer is also trying his best to hold on because he needs to make those positions count more, considering the lesser bonus points of the 2010 car. And also, 3TH definitely struggling with his car choice, considering he's not going to get any bonus points at all. Oh, it's a bit of a slippery cool. Oh, it's a full spin! It's a full spin for 3TH! He is absolutely pummeling down the order, and this is also incredible news for Klezerker, as if he can keep ahead of 3TH, that essentially means that he's got a free batch of 20 points. So now, if he can beat Alan Walker to the line, that would be a 4th place place for Klezerker, and that would mean that he gains 24 points, almost more than a race win. But now, coming up to the front, RVR Catalan has been doing an incredible job battling off Cool Gamer. And I feel like this is where, like, the main bulk of the points are going to be focused on. As, of course, race wins aren't as important here, considering it's a lot more about bonus car chess, really. I mean, no, bonus point chess. But do remember that... And my chat's stuck again. Lovely. Ek, can you fix this bug, please? But yeah. Do remember, of course, that because of the bonus points, wins aren't as impactful if you're using a quicker car. So if RVR Catalan was leading this race, then he would be doing it with an iron grip as well. Klezerker is still keeping himself relatively consistent, considering the pressure he has of holding off a 2024 car. Even if that 2024 car did end up slipping out, that's still the third fastest car in the game, so he's got to watch out when it comes to that thing chasing him.
If you look at Ethan's managed a 109 last lap, that's the slowest out of... Actually, no, Alan Walker's a bit slower than everyone else. Jay-Z is setting ridiculously fast pace, 102.9, while the second place, RVR, is only managing 104.3. So if Jay-Z manages this pace of his, and considering he doesn't have to pit as much as anyone else, he's going to finish with a mighty lead.
And as a reminder, the bonus point for the fastest lap will increase bonus points by 50%, with all decimals being rounded up. So that means Jay-Z will also get an extra point for the fastest lap if he can hold on to that from Cool Gamer Kid. As he definitely seems like the person who's most in position to threaten it, considering their equal machinery. Hold on a minute, I think Klezerker is now getting dangerously close to being overtaken by Ethan. Ethan is considering the pace of the car, it's likely that the gap is going to be closed relatively soon, but Klezerker is, of course, playing a very dangerous game by keeping himself out in the F2 car, because like I said, if he can claw his way into 4th place, that's almost going to give him more points than a win would, but now feels like where Ethan is going to make a charge. The top speed for the 2024 is really going to help him here, and that wasn't really a contest, as Ethan casually cruises past Klezerker. But now, for Ethan, it's about preventing as many mistakes as possible, because remember, he's not going to get any bonus points, so even if he maintains 5th, he's still going to be in dead last in the overall standings.
It's been a rough race for Ethan. He's got quite a few slowdowns, quite a few incidents, and so he's really just trying to minimize the damage of this race. And it's only the first race of the season. He's got to step up if he wants to be able to contend, because he's really, out of all the cars here, he's like the fastest car, but he's not in where he should be, so he's not gaining any sort of bonuses or anything.
Okay, if I can
so
bring
it really
something
will
up,
be a rough race for him.
If I can bring something up, Cool Gamer actually hit a track limit on the final sector there, and we caught it on the camera. It's the first of quite a couple, and honestly, considering all the pressure, I feel like the MVP of this race so far is RVR Catalan, because he's been holding off Cool Gamer Kid for basically the entire race so far, and considering the weaker machinery that he's using right now, that's very impressive. Especially considering the bonus points it's going to give him in the process. Okay, hold on. I feel like I think Even Gaming might have made a major mistake there, because he ended up clipping a track limit, and now he and Klezerker are both side by side once more. I'm honestly not sure who's going to win out of these two, and I feel like this may be where the main battle of the race is. What do you think?
I think Klezerker is definitely keeping it much more clean, but he's disadvantaged by the much slower machinery. Ethan has been making mistakes, but he's got the much faster car, so he's able to sort of somewhat keep close. Alan, however, in the 2003 car, has been completely just cruising in 4th place.
I mean,
he's almost 4 seconds ahead of both of them.
I mean, to be fair, punching above your weight in weaker machinery is the whole point of this league, is it not?
You're absolutely right. So that's why I really hope someone brings out the 1992 car someday. That would be absolutely cinema just to watch.
I feel like a couple of people are probably going to do it to meme in either Azerbaijan or Vegas, you know? It just seems like poetry, doesn't it?
Yeah, I was mentioning this earlier, but the 1992 cars, I don't know if they fixed it yet, but it has this glitch where if you completely stop, it kind of just regenerates the tires like instantly. So you can kind of just skip pit stops, come to a stop, and just keep going with fresh tires. You probably gain like 10 seconds just from that.
Okay, Ethan
I'm not
had
sure if that's fixed or not.
Ethan actually had a really bad curve there. I'm not sure if he hit a track limit. Yes, he did. And I think he might have hit another. Ethan has gotten the penalty now, and that allows Klezerker to just casually cruise past him. These are probably going to be critical points at some point in the future if Klezerker sticks with the F2 car for the full season. Which, to be fair, it's a times 2 point scorer in the dry races, but it's also a bit of a decent choice for wet races as well. So if you ask me, Klezerker's making a bit of a wise choice by picking the F2 car, especially if he knows this is going to be the caliber of the competition.
Up in
oh wait, hold
the
on,
lead again.
Hold on. It's another time penalty for RVR Catalan as he cuts just a couple too many track limits, and now that's going to potentially allow Cool Gamer Kid to just close a little bit more of a gap, especially considering the better tire preservation of the 2010 car. But of course, that's still not a position being given for free, as he is definitely going to have to step things up if he wants to catch up to Catalan, as there's still a 6-second gap. But if Catalan starts to make these dangerous mistakes, do you think there's a potential for an overtake there?
I think so too, because in Hockenheim, it's a corner. I mean, it's a track with just a lot of penalties. When I was in AR3, I had so many corner cuts. It's ridiculous. And also, we can't forget that the 2010 cars, they have much less tire degradation compared to any other car. So maybe Cool Gamer Kid might be able to get away with maybe stopping late or just not stopping at all. While RVR definitely will have to make a pit stop eventually. Either 2 or, yeah, 1 stop.
Hold on a second. You said that the 2010 car has the best tire preservation, but IndyCar. just thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's pretty easy to forget in the moment though. But still, the gap between RVR and Cool is now a solid 6 seconds. So at some point, I feel like someone might have the idea to box if they feel like they can make up the gap once again, just to make sure that their vehicles stay at a decent pace for the full race. Because think about it, when working with gaps like these, anything's on the table.
Exactly. Jay-Z, however, probably has nothing to worry about. He's a whole 17 seconds ahead of second place, and is just cruising with minimal mistakes.
Yeah, but like I did say, this is less so about winning every race and more so about doing a balancing act with the points. Because even though Jay-Z is likely going to win this race with the 2010 car and also secure the fastest lap, which will give him 2 bonus points, RVR Catalan, who's in second place with the 2007 car, if we look at the calculations here as to what that's going to give him, 18 points doesn't sound too good, but if you add on the bonus points of the 2007 car, which are 5, that will mean that he gets 23 points and is only 3 points behind Jay-Z with that same vehicle. And then on top of that, if Klezerker is able to beat Ethan to the end, which is starting to seem a little more unlikely considering the gap, that means that Klezerker will get 10 points for finishing in 5th, and that will be doubled. So that brings him to 20 points overall. And not to mention Alan Walker as well. He's currently in 4th with 12 points. And considering the pace of the 2003 car, that will give him 8 bonus points, and then bring him up to 20 points as well. So Jay-Z will be leading the championship, but it's not going to be by much.
Jay-Z almost slapping Klezerker here.
Yep, we're getting our first...
And almost slapping Ethan as well.
Yep, we've gotten our first lap of the season, and I feel like this is definitely going to be, the first of many, considering the battles we're dealing with right now. And I feel like if Ethan Gaming can keep things relatively clean, then I think he's probably secured 5th place. But still, those would have been a lot more lucrative if he was trying to do the battle with a midfield, just to try and secure just 1 more bonus point in the midst of all of that,
Looks like RVR's managed to stretch his lead over Cool Gamer to over 14 seconds. That should be enough to cover for a pit stop if he's able to be fast with it, and he'll come out with much fresher tires than Cool, and most likely be able to stretch the gap again.
I feel like at this point, considering the pace he's already got, I feel like if he wanted to box, he'd probably only be doing that for style points, you know? Just to sort of show off to everyone else. And he's not making the decision to do it right now, so he's probably being a little bit wise with the time he's got. You know who I feel like should box, though? RVR Catalan, because he's got enough of a gap on Cool Gamer to take the risk now. And considering the tire wear of the 2007 car, that only seems like a wise decision, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's already reaching the halfway point of the race. I don't think he really should try to stay out any longer than this.
Especially Alan Walker as well. Like, he definitely has to... I don't know how much of a gap Alan Walker has on the other ones, but it seems like enough to make a relatively safe box. And, like, safe enough to catch up with later on. But still, the main battle here is between Ethan and Klezerker, so really it comes down to what they pull off.
Looks like both Ethan and Klez are on soft tires. I don't think they'll be able to go much longer with that. Alan also probably needs to pit. I know the 2003 cars, they don't last very long with their tires.
Yeah, definitely. So we've only got 9 laps to go in this race, and I don't often reveal like the way the weather's going, but the weather is going to be completely bone dry for this race. So there's not going to be any thought as to whether to switch to wet. So that's another thing I thought I'd point out with this league. There is a chance that the weather could slightly shift in the midst of the race, and it's up to a driver's prediction skills to decide if they should go for it. And RVR is going in for the box. It seems like he's trying to play it safe, just to make sure that he's able to keep himself relatively consistent for the rest of the race. Does that mean that Cool Gamer Kid has enough pace to catch up to him? I think it's probably going to be close out of the pit lane, but I think RVR Catalan is going to keep a hold on the 3rd place with those softer tires. Yes, he is! Cool Gamer Kid, like I said, gets close, and he can see him within the eye shot, but RVR Catalan keeps ahead, and with now a 38-second gap between him and Jay-Z. Jay-Z's definitely going to be cruising home, but it's seeming relatively safe with the gap he's got. And you can see there, Alan Walker had a bit of a achy corner over there with the worn-out tires, as now Jay-Z comes in to lap Alan Walker as well. That's almost the entire field he's lapped now. He's just got to catch up to Cool Gamer Kid and RVR Catalan. You know something?
And
I'm thinking about potentially giving out a bonus point for if the leading driver laps everyone in the field. You know? I'm thinking about that.
I think that'd be an interesting thing. Alan, 12 seconds ahead of Ethan. I think he should be thinking about the potential to box, because I don't really think Ethan or Klez could make it that long with their softs.
You know what?
I think Ethan just pitted as well, maybe.
You know what? I'll give that a community vote, just to see what people think about it. So I won't enforce it now, but I'll suggest the idea. Hold on a minute. I think Ethan might have boxed for newer tires, because he's actually way behind Klezerker. And it doesn't look like that would have been caused by a track limit either. So now Ethan has a battle to fight with Klezerker, and it's mainly for Klezerker's points, because if he can stay here, like I said, that's going to be great for his potential title fight. Of course, Jay-Z is still going to be leading the championship after this first race, but it's not going to be by much.
Over almost 40-second lead Jay-Z has. Ethan, I think, has pitted. It's now up to Alan to pit.
I'm not entirely sure if Klezerker would want to pit it, though, considering he's seeming relatively fine on the compounds he's got. Also, Ethan cuts 2 track limits in 1 lap, and I think he might have been slapped with a penalty as well. I'm not too sure because I didn't see it. Maybe that penalty's yet to come. But yeah, it's a 4-second gap between Ethan and Klezerker, but Klezerker is using the F2 car, so that gap is a lot shorter than you'd initially expect.
The gap between Klez and Ethan did drop quite a bit. I think he might have actually pitted and we just didn't see it.
Hold on! It's a purple first sector for RVR! It's a purple first sector for him! I think he might be trying to gun for the fastest lap. If he manages to get it, that will be a huge point increase for him. Like, really think about it. If we take the 50% end points and then count that for the 2007 car, that would mean 3 additional bonus points which would mean that RVR Catalan would instead of scoring 18 points, would instead be almost tying Jay-Z for the lead, only 1 point down on him. Actually, wait, no, it would be tied because he wouldn't get any bonus points for his lap. So hold on, he's about to finish the lap. Does RVR Catalan set the fastest lap of the race? I feel like it's going to be close. Oh, he cut a track limit, but even then, it's not. It wouldn't have been close looking at the time that would have been there. I think those are probably the limits of his car coming in to haunt him, considering that section is insane for the 2010 car. Still, a very good effort from RVR. Cutting back to the main battle between Ethan and Klezerker. Klezerker has kept himself relatively clean despite the worn tires, but I'm not entirely sure if he's going to be able to nurse it for 7 laps more, especially considering the circumstances. Because really think about it, he's got one of the fastest cars in the game hunting him down, and he's got to hold that off if he wants to get some good championship points. It doesn't even matter that he's cut multiple track limits, because Ethan has a lot of room for error. And now, both of the drivers are within striking distance of each other. Ethan just needs one more good sector with the more fresh tires, and he's got 5th place secured. And that's seeming like the position he needed with the extra pace. But no! Klezerker has an absolutely flying sector through there, and it's going to be decided by the next curve. And just like that, because of the heavier front end of the F2 car, Ethan himself flies ahead once more. Now, it'll all come down to if he can minimize the mistakes to keep himself ahead. Because think about it, we've seen that Ethan isn't exactly the smoothest driver on the field. And would you look at that? I think they're probably, I'm not sure if that's them getting lapped or not. Actually, hold on, yeah, RVR is now getting close to lapping both of the back markers. What a sight that is. And I'm wondering if Jay-Z will be able to be quick enough to lap RVR, because think about it, if the community votes on it, that's a potential bonus point for Jay-Z as well. Because remember, that does
he's got 4 laps to do it.
Yeah, it's a big gap. In fact, a very big gap, but I feel like it is still definitely possible. And now here comes RVR coming through to lap Klezerker, as we now have the second car to pull off the first lapping of the session. Honestly, I'm not too surprised. Okay, Ethan Gaming.
One of the most impressive.
Yeah, Ethan Gaming cuts a track limit, but he still kept himself relatively clean considering the circumstances. I don't think he's going to be able to gun for position against Alan Walker, as he's looking relatively comfortable in the position he's in now.
Alan has been putting a great drive so far. I don't think he's pitted at all. And if he's really doing 23 laps on those tires for the 2003 car, I have to give him a round of applause, because those things do not like staying out for too long. He's really nursing that thing back to the checkered flag.
I mean, I'm hoping that he records his perspective so we can see the tire wear on it, because if he hasn't pitted, that would be really, really insane, especially considering that Ethan is coming in pretty close with lap times that are going quicker than him. He may not have enough time to catch up, but we'll just have to wait and see.
Spun.
Wait, who spun? RVR? Okay, I didn't catch it on camera. I'm pretty sure he may be recording it, but that's what the POV dump is for. When you miss it, they can definitely take a picture of it.
I think he took a bit too much sand on that hairpin, and he just spun around. But no harm done to his position at all, since he's quite isolated right now.
Of course. Okay, looking at the positions now, I think Klezerker is pretty much confirmed to be in 6th place now, unless Ethan ends up retiring. But Hockenheim is actually a very difficult track to completely crash your car out on. Like, when was the last time you saw someone completely bottle it into a wall in Hockenheim? It's more of a track limit track than an Azerbaijan kind of track, you know?
Yeah, I'll point out one thing though. Ethan has really put the hammer down. He set a 105 last lap. That's whole 4 seconds faster than Alan Walker. So Alan Walker is not as safe as he seems. But Ethan did just make another mistake with the CC, so I think his mistakes might come to bite him in the butt in this race.
Yeah, I think that may have been the last chance he had to catch up to 4th place, as Ethan pretty much has 5th place secured, but he's got to keep it relatively clean if he wants to stay in that position. Hold on a second. And now, Cool Guy Gamer has now been overtaken and, lapped by Jay-Z. He now has 2 laps to see if he can catch up to RVR Catalan. If he makes a mistake, like I said, that could be another potential bonus point for Jay-Z. Honestly, I really
all it would take is just one spin.
Yeah.
All it takes is one spin from RVR, and Jay-Z might be looking at another bonus point.
Yeah, it is looking... Honestly, I feel like, considering the bonus points we have here, it's kind of insane that a track with this many gaps in terms of, like, where the drivers are can still be entertaining, you know? Just by seeing the different minds coming together, like, the different thoughts between them. And it says a lot with the differences between Cool Gamer Kid and Jay-Z. If Jay-Z can lap Cool Gamer Kid in equal machinery. Like, what kind of Nico Rosberg bullshit is this?
Jay-Z is one of the faster players I know. I think he was my teammate for a bit in TO21, and I know he's quite fast. And Cool Gamer, he's not lapping quite as fast as the 2010 car can go. He's only set a 105.1. I can do that with the 2003 car.
Okay, we've moved on to the final lap of the race, and it seems like the gaps are keeping relatively the same. Ethan gets a little bit of DRS from being lapped by RVR Catalan, so that's going to help him out a little bit, but I feel like it's not going to make that much of a change. And Jay-Z finishes a double lap on Klezerker. That's pretty impressive, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch up to RVR in time. I feel like he's got consistent enough of a gap to keep himself ahead. Klezerker spins out again once more, which I think speaks volumes with the tire wear on the car. So really, this was a game of strategy. Everyone played their cards pretty well, but in the end, I think we can quite clearly see who came out on top. I feel like he could have benefited by picking a slightly slower car, considering the gap he's got here. Like, I feel like he could have gotten away with, like, a 2007 car himself or something. But at the end of it all, he secures the fastest lap, and he secures the win, as we now have our first winner. Jay-Z wins the German Grand Prix in the 2010 car, and he wins it by a total landslide. Looking down the rest of the field, do you think we should count people as finished when they cross the line after the first guy, or do you think they should finish all the laps? I'm not too sure myself.
I think just let them finish the laps. There's only 2 laps.
Yeah, that seems fair. That seems fair enough. And overall, coming down in the second place, showing an incredible bout of skill by beating another driver in the 2010 car, is RVR Catalan. He's done an incredible job considering the machinery, and he almost snatched the fastest lap pretty early on. So that speaks volume towards his own skill. And with that, RVR finishes in second place with the 2007 car and bags himself 23 points, being only 4 points behind the championship leader. And now Cool Guy Gamer finishes a double lap on Klezerker as well. It was a decent performance from him, but I have the feeling that he probably wanted to do just a little bit more, as he's only going to finish with 16 points. Which puts him in a guaranteed tie with Klezerker, and he misses the double lap on Klezerker with one last track limit. That really says it all, doesn't it?
Just a correction, I don't think he actually lapped Klez.
Okay, the main lap. That was a pretty sad ending for Cool Gamer Kid, but hey, at least he finished on the podium, you know? At least he was able to make it on that stand. So yeah, after nursing his
Alan
tires,
Walker here.
Yeah, after nursing his tires for such a long time, it's been a pretty impressive showcase from Alan Walker. Considering the car he's in, he's been able to nurse it for quite a long time, and considering the car he's in, that bumps him up to 20 points and brings him to third in the championship, as Alan Walker comes in fourth to get 12 points for finishing there, and with the 8 points added on with the 2005 car, that brings him into the podiums for those championship standings. Ethan definitely got off the worst in this race, considering his lack of pace in the front-running 2024 car. So he comes in fifth with no bonus points, not being able to bring himself that far. And Klezerker, after using the Formula B car to nurse himself to a fairly decent result, comes in sixth, brings that up to 16 points. And it's not the best result from him, but it's definitely still a solid effort from Klezerker. And that right there concludes the first race of the King of Kings. you slice it, it was an absolutely dominant race from Jay-Z, who brings himself into being the first leader of the Drivers' Championship after a masterclass at Hockenheim. RVR isn't too far behind, however, as he was able to bring his way into second place using a bit of an unorthodox car, which brings his bonus points up to 5 and means that he is only 4 points overall behind our race winner. On top of that, it was also particularly solid from Alan Walker, who didn't slip back as far as he was expected to and secured 8 bonus points despite only finishing 4th. So it was an amazing job from him. Klezerker, in reflection, could have definitely gotten a better result if he was able to best Ethan Gaming later on in the race, but some poor mistakes at some point when it came to consistency really hampered his run, and in the end, he could only muster up 16 points in total. The last thing worth mentioning is that at the end of the race, Jay-Z was noted saying that he definitely would have brought in a slower car if he knew he was going to be so dominant so he could bank a couple more bonus points. So we'll be expecting Jay-Z to bring in some more wacky choices at the later stages of this league.